Right, so BTCC season has ended, the 2025 season anyway. Me and Lewis, we've just done this prediction video. You've probably seen that already. If not, check it out because who doesn't want to see our beautiful mugs? Secondly,
this off-season is proven to be one of the most interesting ones in several years.
why is that, Harvey, you may ask? Well, new team, Plato Racing.
New cars.
New cars, the Audis with... I forget. Yeah, mate. I forget the name every time.
It's going so well.
I did it in the predictions. So, new team, Plato Racing. New cars, the Audi S3s with Power Max Racing. Potential driver moving with Darrell Leon. Maybe going to the Porsches.
Some big
names
changes,
leaving and returning. Everything's everywhere. Me and Lewis are going to be racing. No, we're not. No. Everything's everywhere.
To start with, where do you want to start with? Do you want to start at the top?
Where do I want to start with?
Just the manufacturers first.
Yeah.
Or do you want to start with where we don't think there'll be much change?
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
First off, I think the full 6 Hyundai seats available will stay the exact same drivers. I think Hyundai will. I think they've already said they're keeping Chilton. He's one of the few already confirmed.
Ingram's going to stay, probably.
Probably locked into a multi-year contract.
I reckon Morgan could be on a 2-season deal.
Morgan will probably stay. They're all good enough. I think Proctor, after the season he's just had, will probably have the funding to keep going.
Restart Racing, looking likely to be staying as it is. You got Dan Lloyd, probably, if not already, near enough confirmed his seat for next season. Chris Smiley, probably doing the same. The Hyundai's locked in, bing, bang, bosh, done. We're sorted with the Hyundai's.
I think smart. I mean, Restart probably have the best independent driver lineup on the grid. They won the championship. And I think all 4 Hyundai drivers were in the top 10.
They were.
All 4, even though Proctor only did...
half season.
only did 3/4 of a year. So I think next season, the 4 of them could...
do bits.
do many bits as Ingram chases his 3rd title.
Yeah.
Moving on, I think there's a lot of change in the manufacturers. I will go with Alliance next.
Napa Alliance.
I think firstly there's a conversation of they were supposedly meant to change cars for next season.
Yep.
I think those rumours have quietened down and they're going to be delayed by another year. I think their plans originally...
wait for the new regs to come in.
I think their plans were to join with a GT team so they could run GT programs like similar to what WSR are doing, but I believe those fell through. I think they'll probably delay it another year, but we could potentially see an upgraded version of the Focus, like we mentioned in the predictions video. The Focus has probably reached its development limit, and qualifying wise especially, I think that's what ultimately cost Sutton the title. His qualifying form. I think the Fords on the whole, they could, it's a long shot, they could do similar to what Honda did for the year, which you switch to the, is it the hatchback? Switch to like the longer version. It's
from hatchback to estates. Yeah,
I think whether they go through with that is a different kettle of fish, but I think it's possible. Do
you know what? I think the Focus Estates could do bits on the grid.
I think if they don't, we could very potentially see a repeat of this year where Sutton is ultimately he's driving out of his skin.
Yeah.
But the car is ultimately
limiting factor.
And every year, I think the Fords struggle slightly more and more.
Yeah.
Which is a bit odd considering they came in at the same time as the Hyundais, but obviously the Hyundais have a bit of a better ceiling. Their driver lineup, this is where there will be some change. Sutton will stay. I think him and Camish are already locked in from last year, locked into 2-year contracts. So I think they're already confirmed to stay. Sam Osborne will stay. The big one is Dan Rowbottom is pretty much all but confirmed to be leaving.
Yeah, I think the Rowbottom move is...
with some drama at the end of the year.
Yep.
With some drama at the end of the year and heavy rumours, we'll get onto it later with Plato.
Yeah.
I agree. I think he will leave.
I do see him, departing the outfit. I think he's done his bit. He's had his say. It's causing drama.
He wants to go off and
be his own team in a sense. I think
lead his own team. Yeah,
that's the one.
Replacing him, I think Jamie Osborne.
It's a shout. Obviously,
he was very unlucky towards the end of the year when medical issues cost him a run at the title, but very much he very much could have won it.
Yeah.
Over Tom Ovenden. I think the only thing that could hamper this deal is having two Osbornes in the team.
I don't really see it having an issue. Obviously, it could spark the issue of if one Osborne gets favoured more than the other Osborne. It could spark.
I think on the whole, it could be the Osbornes get favoured more than Camish or Sutton.
Yeah, true.
I think it'll be fine. Other than
it hasn't really happened so far.
Other than Jamie Osborne, I don't see any other Napa affiliated drivers.
No.
From the minis being able to take that step, so I do think Jamie Osborne will fill that spot. Moving on to Speedworks. Speedworks is difficult.
I think there can be a few changes there.
I think Shedden will stay for another year. I think the form at the end of the year was just enough to get him to want to stay.
And I think 2 other seats are confirmed near enough.
I think Max Buxton will stay on.
Yeah, and I reckon Finn Leslie will also.
I agree. I think Finn. What's interesting to me is I think Finn Leslie could be a target for MB Motorsport.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he could be. I think if MB choose to move away from the WSR stable, I think Finn Leslie's the guy to go with. In whether that means Finn Leslie ends up at BMW, I think it's more likely he ends up at Toyota. And he did impress in his first outing.
He definitely, obviously, first outing, score points.
Yeah, and he had a drive shaft failure at the start of the day as well. So I do agree.
Do you reckon Toyota will stick with the 4 seats, maybe drop down to 3?
I think they'll stay at 4, but that's because I think after we spoke to him mid-season, and in general, I agree, Dorlin. I think Dorlin will come back.
I mean, look, he didn't have a time of day. When he was in, the Toyota wasn't at its peak.
Yeah.
I think if he would have stayed till the end of the season, we could have seen a lot more out of James.
He was out of, in that first half of the season, I think he was outperforming ATS and Shedden. He was doing better
he was
both.
Definitely, he was a better performing Toyota, I think, in the first part of the season.
He was the first to get in the quick 6.
Yeah.
And I think if he comes back, I think that's what Toyota need as well. They need continuity. Because at the minute, it feels like they hire a whole new lineup, do shocking for the start of the year and then pick up towards the end.
Yeah.
I think if they keep this lineup, which every driver's raced for them already, even if Leslie's pretty new, I think they could finally start building something again.
Yeah.
Which I think is what they've been lacking in the last few years. They've been building up this big shaky house, and the second they start getting the foundations put in, they replan it all and try again.
Yeah.
With the new engines, I think it worked as well. So I think Speedworks will stay relatively similar. The hardest manufacturer to predict will be WSR and BMW.
Yeah, because
Jake Hill's left. We know that. He's officially leaving.
Yeah, he's going off GTs.
So they've lost their talisman.
Yep.
DeLeon looks like he could also potentially leave for GTs as well.
Yep. Which then opens 2 seats. There's rumours flying about BMW, and I want to talk about these rumours because I made a video on it earlier, and a few weeks ago, just before the season ended, and it excites me.
I think we'll start with who. I think Moffat will stay.
Yep.
Moffat is very brings a lot of comfortable back in. He himself has shown his pace at times, even though his championship results are always. I don't think they kind of show who he is. No, they don't. In seasons where he does really well, it feels like his results aren't great, and in seasons where he's not that great, his results seem to be a lot better. Yeah, because last year was his second best ever year, and it didn't feel like it. It really didn't. But he was getting more consistent towards the end of the season. So I think he'll stay. I think Charles Rainford will stay. Even though Rainford could also potentially end up going down the GT route. He could. And that would be a big loss because I think Rainford has been the standout driver of last year. Yeah, I think at times, obviously, when besides your Brands Hatch, your Knockhill, besides that, I'd say Rainford was probably the front talisman for Rainford for WSR in a sense. Yeah, he was leading the forefront. He was always up there, but
think if they lose Rainford as well, you could be looking at either the downfall of WSR.
We could be seeing them move back down to 3 cars.
Yep.
As well. I've put Turkington down. Dick Bennett has mentioned he wants Turkington back.
Yep.
I think with Hill going, they need an experienced driver, because I think regardless of who they get in those other seats,
Yeah, they need experience, and who better to get an experience in the BMWs than the man who's won it 4 times, Colin Turkington. I'd love to see him back. Massive Colin Turkington fan myself, you know. I'm a big advocate for him coming back into the seat. Could he win his 5th? Probably not, unless that BMW is unreal.
Yeah.
But can he just be there to rack in the points when it's needed?
And support
the younger drivers, help develop the car, help develop the team? Yes. And I think that's what it's missing.
I think the only thing stopping Turkington is WSR would have to front the money for him. It's not the other way around.
No.
That last seat is very interesting, because I don't know who it would go to.
I actually have no idea.
I think they could pull someone from Porsches, but WSR aren't as obvious as some of the other teams, like in Minis.
We said it last year, the gamble.
Yeah.
The gamble did not gamble very well last year. The gamble ended very quickly. But could the gamble be back on? We'll see.
Well, WSR, at least to my knowledge, don't have the same junior systems as some of the other. So like Minis has Napa, has Restart, has Accelerate. Whereas WSR kind of don't. They
kind of just say, you'll have you.
I think, off the top of my head, there are drivers definitely trying to pine for a seat this year. Once again, Bobby Thompson, someone who's really desperately trying to get the money together. But I think if he could, he would go into that BMW seat, and he would be
a great front runner.
He would be fantastic.
Him and Turkington will be an unreal duo, I think.
At the same time, he hasn't been able to get the budget for the last 2 years. I don't think if he could, if this is the year for it, I don't think a WSR seat.
Yeah.
Especially in a year where they'd have to be financially backing Turkington. So that seat, it could be anyone. I think more likely they'll pull someone from Porsches as opposed to like Minis. But unless MB want to bring Finn Leslie over to them, I
don't see it really going anywhere.
I have no clue. That is a full gamble.
It is. Well, moving away from the manufacturers.
Moving on, this is where things get interesting.
Yep.
Restart, we've already said, to staying the same.
They'll keep it the same.
Power Max Racing, they're already confirmed to move over to the Audis.
Yep.
I think Mikey Doble
will stay. Yeah. Could they bring ATS back?
I think that's the most likely outcome.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
there were rumours when he mentioned he signed a load of NDAs that could mean Plato. Yep. But similarly, this was before the Audi news broke out. I think it's just as likely he had to sign all those NDAs for Power Max and Audi. I think he's obviously been there before, got a lot of success there, and I think the only thing, once again, stopping this deal, well, unlike what we mentioned earlier with like Thompson and whatnot, I think ATS can bring the back in.
He can. I mean, ATS has been around for a long time.
And he does have the money for it.
He has the money for it. He has the skill for it, and he brings the social presence. You know, media-wise.
And I think with that, PMR can then take the fight to Restart for the Independence crown, which obviously they couldn't do last year with Nick Halstead, and I mean the fire and everything. It was a pretty bad year, but they made the best out of it. I think next season they could very much be.
If the Audi works, they could be up there.
Yeah, it is a gamble, but it's the right gamble to take.
Yeah, I think
they already planned on, I think, switching once the Astra ran out of homologation. They've just brought these ideas forward, and I mean Adam Weaver has proven, especially this year, that he is the man.
Yeah,
he deserves.
Yeah, he can manage that team. He does it brilliantly. And
on top of that, they're also building the new junior cars as well.
Yep. Whether that series goes ahead,
well, there's more likely than the other one, but
yeah,
I think ATS is the most likely driver.
I'd love to see him back.
Other than that, once again, I just don't. It's hard to see who could move into those because it's such like it's literally in touring car. It's such a. It could be anyone.
Yeah.
That
it could be Dave from that road that gets that seat back.
It literally could be. It could be someone who has a wealth of experience. Could be Dave from down the road.
Yeah.
But I think ATS is the
right. I think he's the most not obvious, the most sensible choice. I think for that seat.
Yeah. I think next up, firstly, I have to ask: do you think One Motorsport will be back?
No. Simply because everything that happened in the season, if they were going to be back, they'd be back already, I think.
Yeah, they had to move away originally because of, I can't remember his name, but the head...
He had health issues, which meant he couldn't run his businesses, which meant there was no money going into it.
I think it's more, the money just isn't there anymore.
Yeah, obviously, once again, if he couldn't run his businesses, whether he could or couldn't, regardless, the money's wasn't being pumped into a team, so they had to stop.
But if they do come back... It'll see it. Firstly, those Hondas, they will return with the Hondas, and the Hondas are starting to really show their age.
Yeah.
Last season, they weren't. I don't think where anyone thought they'd be. They were
especially in the hands of Josh Cook, we thought they'd be a bit
more
further
wins,
up,
but only 2 podiums, and after that, it was a bit iffy.
Yeah.
If it does happen, Josh Cook, I see staying with them, and they bring someone else in. More likely, I think this is the end of One Motorsport. I'd like for it to not, but I just don't see where, after the last 2 attempts, where the money's going to be, ultimately. Moving on to more exciting news. It was announced going into the Silverstone weekend that Jason Plato wanted to bring a team together.
Yeah, and that got me a little bit excited, I'm not gonna lie.
As one of the people who did predict in some manner Plato...
I did. I said Plato would be back. I said Plato and Nick Alser.
But, you know, he did better late than never. It's heavily rumoured, and I kind of agree with it. I think they'll run the Mercedes CLAs.
Yeah.
Heavily rumoured as well, they've got their first driver, Dan Rowbottom.
Yeah, it's got to be Rowbottom.
Would be an excellent choice. I think Plato's not there to make up the numbers. He's there
to win.
He's there to win.
He's there to at least do the independence.
He's not. What I'm going to say. He's not there to just win the independent. No. He's there to fight for the title. If
this is going to be the Jason Plato that we all know, obviously he's had his own issues. He's overcome them. He's back with a spark,
and he is by far and away the British Touring Car Championship's most known individual, I think.
Definitely.
Alongside Dan Rowbottom, who last year, if you told me he would have been the first choice before last season, I'd have been a bit sceptical. But he has proven
that he can
fight at the front consistently.
Yeah.
And I think in his own team as well, where because it'll be a 2-car outfit where there's less team play, I think he'll thrive there.
Definitely.
I think his second choice will be Josh Cook, which creates a very scary lineup.
Cook and Rowbottom.
I agree with the idea of that is a lineup that could not only win the independents,
could do it all. Manufacturers, because you got 2 against 4.
Yeah, obviously. But more the drivers.
Yeah.
With Josh Cook, who people have said for a long time is a title-winning, capable driver.
Do you know what? And I do back that. He's shown it. He's proved it. Obviously, he just hasn't had that luck with teams.
Yeah. And I think Plato will do it in such a way where funding isn't an issue.
Yeah.
He did say he wanted to bring in. He did want to bring in non-touring car sponsors that we've not seen in the touring car world before. A lot of the news is still hush-hush. I'm hoping around when the TBLs are announced in the start of December, we'll hear some official proper news. But I do think, regardless, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
I am, and I just hope it's going to. Obviously, like I said, everything's hush-hush. Obviously, we've had that before with the Vortex Racing, which surfaced last season. That's gone now.
Parts of that came alive with Nick Hamilton.
They did.
There was some truth in that, but
yeah, there was some truth in it.
There, yeah.
No, it was just, especially after something lost his Cupra, impossible.
I think he sold it after the idea fell through. But that does give us a pretty decent segue into the final team on the grid. Off the top of my head, Unlimited. We're not missing anyone.
Unlimited. No, we're not missing anyone.
I think going from the first season, a lot of it was there with delay on.
Yeah.
I think last year they tried going too big too quickly. But towards the end of this season, especially with Patterson picking up a few independent wins towards the end of the year, I think they'll go for a lot of... I think they have the ability, the funding, because they recently signed a deal with Maguire's.
Yep.
And a lot of the sponsorship stuff. They're still the team that's in the most, I think, precarious financially.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think they'll continue with Patterson. I think he's got the money for it. I think Hamilton will stay on. And do you think they'll go up to 3 cars again, or do you think they'll stay at 2?
I think the safe bet is to keep 2 cars, but have 2 strong cars.
That is the safe bet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a third.
Knowing Unlimited, they'll take 2 drivers and a money seat. In the sense that they'll have 2 very strong front runners, and then somebody who's going to kind of bring up the rear of the trio, but is going to bring the money for the team.
I think if Thompson can get his money together, I think he could end up there because he already has the links to Unlimited.
And he's been obviously from back in the Team Hard days. He's then done some tests, well, not testing, but the laps with them.
Yeah, so I think on the whole, I think it'll be a better year next year for them.
Yeah.
I personally think they'll stay at 2 cars, and I think it'll be Nick Hamilton coming back.
Definitely.
Or it'll probably be a similar way of like Nick Hamilton's technically part of another team, but ran under the same banner of Unlimited. However, that is the full lineup. It's still there's still a lot to go on.
Yeah, there's still a lot of stuff up in the air. There's a lot of possibilities. Like we said, it's touring cars. Anything can happen in the sense that you could have Colin Turkington or you could have Dave from Dart Pub.
Yeah. And I think it won't be until the TBLs get announced that we'll start hearing a lot of news on this front, especially regarding Plato. But next year, on the whole, we're at least seeing, I'd like to think, at the very least, 2 new cars on the grid. That's the last thing I wanted to ask you. Is there a world in the near future where Unlimited move away from the Cupras and take up the Fords if Alliance move ahead, but is that a next year thing?
I'd say that's definitely a next year thing when the new regs come into play.
Yeah.
But
that is all from us.
That is all from us. Obviously, let us know. Have we nailed it on? Do you reckon, like we said, there could be Dave from the Pub coming in and racing with Jason Plato?
But who do you reckon?
Yeah, because it's looking exciting and I'm looking forward to it.
But that's it from us, and I suppose we'll see you in a few weeks' time.
Check out our socials, LH_TalkSpeed Sport on Instagram, YouTube and TikTok, and at TalkSpeed Sport on X, I think.
Yeah. Talk SNS,
Yeah, Talk SNS.
But that's it from us.